Namaskar friends, welcome to Illegal Desi. Today I want to look at, decode and break down for you the whole confusion around why the government is charging 28% GST on online gaming and why you as a gamer has absolutely nothing to worry about. Before I go any further, if you like the video, then hit the like and subscribe button and share this video out to a friend. It helps out the channel more than you know. Also, your feedback is appreciated down in the comments below. So, before we discuss about the GST itself, we need to start what brought us to this mess in the first place. These were the fantasy sports companies. In 2020, during the peak of the pandemic, MPL started using the term gaming platform to describe its app. Now that is partially true because MPL, as you know, does offer casual games to its user base. But its biggest draw remains fantasy sports, where you create a team and bet real money on it. With fundings from top venture capitalists, MPL and other fantasy sports companies got bolder with their campaigning, using cricketers such as Virat Kohli among others in an attempt to club online betting with gaming and show it as one and the same. Real gamers throughout this time, including me, were not at all happy with this disingenuous marketing ploy, but of course, a few rogue voices on Twitter will not change the moves multi-crore corporates make. But this was just the start. From Fantasy Sports League, other smaller gambling companies also started to make moves into gaming. Soon you had apps specializing in rummy, teen patti and poker started their marketing moves as well. While they did not outright classify their apps as games, there was a subtle nod where they tried to push gambling right into the classification under gaming. Now, the problem here is not just with how gaming and gambling are looked at by companies, because it is the laws that define them were and are still old and outdated at best. To give you a little more insight, gambling is a state subject. That means each state is free to draft the laws to suit their needs around gambling. Now the government has enacted the Public Gambling Act way back in 1867, and it is the foundation of India's gambling laws. A look at all the central and state laws and you will find one common thing, that apart from lottery and racehorses, every single act of gambling is termed as gaming. And this is where the biggest problem lies. Now that might have been very relevant for an era where video games and other forms of gaming did not exist. But in 2023, it is clearly a problem and something that needs to be rectified. In present day, real-life gambling games such as teen patti, rummy and poker are considered as gaming, but covered under the gambling laws because of a particular section in that very law that covers the instruments of gaming. Now these include cards, dice, counters and money. Where the challenge lies is that the government still does not consider the digital version of these very games under this same law. So in April of 2023, the Ministry of Electronics and IT came up with a Gazette notification in an attempt to rectify this issue. However, it stayed pretty much in line with defining online gaming as how these gambling companies wanted it to be shown. The term gaming does not cover your Call of Duty, Fortnite and Apex Legends, but more towards fantasy sports and online version of Rummy and Teen Patti, giving more legitimacy to them. And this is where the real root of the issue lies. By having a distorted definition for what is actually gaming, it will always send a mixed message out whenever the government tries to rein in this practice. So when the government announced a 28% GST on gaming, what they really meant was a 28% GST on these gambling apps. But the so-called gaming companies of India are trying to rally the support of all gamers in an attempt to force the government to reverse its decision. These so-called gaming companies have gotten paranoid to the extent that some of them have also reached out to gaming journalists and insiders and asked them to not put out tweets that gaming and gambling are different, and having the audacity to say that doing so is unfair to them. But on the other hand, a group of video gaming companies are also reached out to the PMO asking that the government makes a clear distinction between gambling and gaming so that fantasy sports companies and gambling companies stop taking undue advantage of this situation to favor them. Currently, there is nothing in the Indian law that regulates video games, not even a single definition. And to be honest, I hope it remains this way, because the last thing I want is the government to tell me what I can and cannot play. But not setting boundaries between gaming and gambling is a huge disservice to the Indian gaming community, and that is something I truly hope changes. Now, I hope this was helpful in explaining the true problem between gaming and gambling. Anyways guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.